The quickest thing is if you turn it like that, all I did was twist it, that wire popped out. So when we're dealing with MIG welding, fluxcore, whatever, there are only a handful of things that go wrong when your welder stops welding. It's like a weed eater. I like to compare it to a weed eater. If you don't know how to change wire or the spool, the what is it? The wire, I guess the wire on a weed eater, the weed eater string. If you don't know how to do that on a weed eater, there's really no point for you to weed eat, because you're gonna face that at some point. You're not gonna get through a yard most of the time, sometimes, but at least through a distance or a length of time without having to wrestle with it, whether it's trying to get it to come out or whether it's reloading it. So same thing with this. So there's only a few things that happen when you stop welding. And the most efficient way, because it's kind of like a mechanic when they diagnose things. Well, they ask you what's going on. So if you're the one, you know what's going on, you know where it stopped. You need to find out what the issue is, but you want to start with the smaller things first. You want to see where it starts. You don't want to start, well, hey, it needs a new engine. You know, you don't want to start there. You want to see it's usually some type of component before you get there, right? Well, I don't want to say, hey, well, we need a new welder, it's not working because the wire stopped, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we need to troubleshoot first. The first thing, your first check. So this one, it's already clear. So now after I do that, what I'm gonna do is hit that wire. It's still on. It's coming out a little rough. I'll clip that. It took a little help to come out, which meant that if you come in, this was a little frayed. There was some burn in there, and then this was a little bent too. So it wasn't coming out cleanly through that tip. So what happens is that needed to clear. Now we're running good. Now it's running like it's supposed to. Sometimes your tip can clog up and it can cause some drama. So after you do your twist and all you're doing is 1, 2, if this breaks free, you're pretty good to go. You just need to clear your wire, clip it, and you're ready to weld again. If that doesn't happen, I'm not talking twist it and try to choke it out, but you do 2 turns and 2 turns, and if it doesn't come out, now your next step is to take your tip off. You want to make sure your tip is clear. So if you take that, if you see some burn marks here, that means it arced out on the inside. So what you want to do is clear it, get it past that burn, because we're talking about an 030 opening. That's all the opening we got. So that's all the opening this has. So if this gets clogged up or it gets burnt out, well, if there's a little BB on this wire, it won't come out. And if you see the burn, or if you don't clear the burn, then you try to wire, it's going to ground out again because it's not going to clear that 030 opening. So you clear the wire, and then what I do is I turn my tip, the outside of my tip in, and I'll just feed it through here. And basically I'm cleaning out my tip. I'll push it, make sure there's nothing, and that assures me that nothing's hung up inside my tip.
Do you ever have to wire brush that tip? I see all that flux or whatever.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can grind it, whatever you want to do, because that'll build up and cause a ground out.
Yeah.
You know, so, but
I think that's what happened. I saw a jet. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but a jet of flame just started coming out of the tip, and I was like, what was that?
Yeah, so again, if you do that, you clear out your tip to make sure your tip is clear, because sometimes your wire can get burnt and broke in there and freeze that hole and basically lock it in.
Yeah.
So this tells you that if you need a tip or not. So all right, so we flip it back, put that back on, and you're good to go. All right, so those are the first 3 steps that happen right here. Right. The next steps, later on we'll look at inside the machine where you go after that. Right. But these are the 2 most common. That first one, you don't have to even do anything but twist it.
Yeah.
And it pops off, and then you break it, and you're good to go. You know, just like a weed eater, you hit it a couple times. Sometimes it gets locked in there. You might have to do a little adjustment, but you're good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to even get in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing on the troubleshoot.
All right.